Welcome to Braithwaite TV. Things have just got to change.
So we'll be looking at the security, civil and legal implications of that horrendous and condemnable attack. And we'll start with the legal and civil implications. And of course, we are going to have a legal expert break this down for us, what these things could be interpreted to mean legally and in the way of civil matters also. Hello, Olumide, good morning.
Good morning, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning, Olumide.
Good morning.
We'll move straight into the topic, which you can see is on the Ondo Massacre. And we're talking about the civil, and we're looking at the civil and legal implications of that. You know, this attack, it's not the very first, as we all know, in the country, but this time around, it's the manner in which this attack took place, you know, in a church, which historically is meant to be a sanctuary, not just for worship, but a safe haven, a safe place for people, and people who were there doing their own worship, who have the rights to practice their religion, were attacked. So looking at it from, you know, people's rights being not just infringed, but totally, what's that word? You know, just totally cleared out. Nobody even gave them that right to express themselves in that way. And so now looking at it legally and in civil matters, can you just tell us what the implications of what this attack in a major town in the southwest is most likely to incur?
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer. Let me just start by saying that this attack on the church in Ondo State is condemnable. It is barbaric. It is cowardly. It is against the law of God, whether Islam or Christianity. It is murder. It is a massacre and must be opposed with far more than equal measure. In other words, the federal government and the state government of Ondo State as well, combined, must track and bring the criminals, the murderers, to justice, to book. Secondly, I want to use this medium and opportunity to express our condolences and sympathy with the citizens of Ondo State, with the families of the deceased. They include children, mothers, widows, human beings slaughtered. I know the Ondo State Governor, Mr. Ondo, has come out to condemn and has charged law enforcement also to track down these murdering, roaming parties. Now, as far as the implications are concerned, this, you rightly said, this is not the first attack in the South. But what for me is apposite is the timing of this attack. If we can recall, just barely less than 2 months ago, we had the attack on the train in Kaduna. with innocent civilians and army personnel. This has gone a stage further. This was unprovoked, of course, and targeted. And again, coming at a time when the ruling party, the APC, is having presidential primaries to choose the flag bearer for the next coming elections. We all know the intricacies of politics in this country. And so for me, the timing of it is very interesting. We're talking about the choosing of a candidate. The PDP has chosen its candidate in the person of Atiku Abubakar, whilst the APC, the ruling party, is deliberating as we speak as the choice of the flag bearer. Now, against this backdrop, of course, is the zoning or the ethnic makeup of the candidate. Having regard to the results of the PDP primaries that resulted in a northerner being the candidate, then surely the APC must choose a southern candidate. Therefore, the attack in the south and how it has panned out for me is very, very crucial. In the sense that the Southwest, or the Yoruba nation, has also come out with the Southern Governors Forum, again signed by the governor of Ondo State, who happens to be the chairman, coincidentally, of the Southern Governors Forum, to condemn the consensus choice of the party chairman alone, saying that he is only speaking for himself and certainly not for other delegates within that the APC caucus. Irrespective of my own personal ethnic expression, because I believe that in Nigeria today, we have to speak plainly. The insecurity that this government, albeit inherited, has gotten worse. The security situation in Nigeria is deplorable. And this administration that is coming to an end has tried, but has failed largely, and we must say that. And it is something of concern going forward into the new dispensation. It also has implications for possible sectionalism, again, coming from the Southwest, particularly if a Southern candidate is not chosen.
Barrister Braithwaite,
Yes.
can I come in? Yeah. Are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting that the attack on the church is born out of the refusal of the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum to see that allowance is not accepted except somebody from the South here? Because by what you're saying, we were discussing the implications of that thing, and then your constant transitions on the political scene, what the APC has done. Are you saying that APC for giving not to the North back as it is done in the PDP, now And the governor of Ondo State, being the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, is insisting it must come to the South. That may be the reason why this attack on his own state.
No, certainly not. The question was, what are the implications of this attack? Trying to address those implications with the current state of affairs. Even as we speak, as you know, the APC is deliberating on this choice. And the coincidences surrounding the present circumstances are implied, are implicated in all that we're doing right now, as far as the choice of a candidate is concerned. And therefore, you cannot overlook this attack or look at it in isolation, because certainly there are possible scenarios that can throw themselves up as a result of what has happened and what is about to happen in terms of primaries and the choice of a presidential candidate and his extraction.
I want to ask, for those who, have suffered loss of lives, maybe of their families, are there means that they can use to, get some compensation from the government? Because the security that the government is meant to offer to its citizens as a social contract, that has been grossly breached. And that attack, some people liken it to a genocide. So are there ways that those who lost their loved ones could actually take up legal measures against the state government or the federal government?
Yes, that's a very refreshing question, if I may address it as that, because I think it's time, it's high time now that in terms of terrorist attacks, we have to look at the real possibilities of seeking compensation for the families. Government on its own can make relief packages, but your question is essentially, is there a way that legal compensation can be sought, perhaps through litigation, through the courts? And I would say yes, absolutely, 100%. Victims can bring an action against the federal government or state government or security forces that are charged with this social contract that you mentioned. And it's something that I think should be happening with as much regularity as these attacks are happening.
No, but there is another thing I want to find out from Barrister Braithwaite, and that is, every time there is this attack, there is always condemnation by all of us. It happened in Mandela, we condemned it. It happened in Jos, we condemned it. It happened in Kaduna, we condemned it. It happened in Anambra, now in Ondo State, we also condemn it. And it seems that there is no time the government has condemned it through the judicial process, because some people are actually arrested in the process of this. But the prosecution would not tell us whether government actually condemned this heinous crime. Because if it does, we would have seen some people jailed for it. We've never had anyone being jailed for getting involved in this dastardly act. Are you really thinking that the judicial system is working in Nigeria to condemn this?
Thank you again. You are really, if I may say, your questions this morning and the topic this morning is highly charged. And I must thank you for the topic and the areas that you're going with these questions. I cannot, and I think we as Nigerians, we have gone past that stage of being so gullible. The performance of the government against terrorism in Nigeria in the last 10 years has been on a slippery slope. We haven't been able to cage, we have not been able to prosecute, we have not been able to investigate or track down, and many, many questions are thrown up as to really what's going on. Are we saying that our security forces are incapable of securing its citizens within the confines of our territory in Nigeria? Or are we saying that these bandits are ghosts and that we cannot track them down? Are we saying, for example, that some of these attacks are motivated by other means, political means, or religious or sectoral means? These are all issues that have not been competently addressed. And, cause for concern for all of us, whether in the South, Southeast, Southwest. And a very dangerous precedent has been set. Very dangerous, very, very delicate, again, with regard to the timing. The judiciary that you mentioned, being our own constituency, I would say, are shackled or are hampered in their role, because whilst we have our laws there, theoretically, the implementation or the enforcement of those laws is where our problem lies. And as you know, in terms of government, you have the executive, and then you have the legislative, and you have the judiciary. And these three arms of government are supposed to work in tandem. But suffice it to say, they're not working in tandem. In fact, their arms have been cut off in Nigeria.
Thank you for that. Okay, another major question. I'm still looking at the legal implications of this matter. Now, we saw, so many people helpless in that situation. Of course, nobody would have expected such a scenario to have occurred that morning. And we've got some kind of vigilante outfits existing, in the Southwest, especially the group known as Amoteku. And now this outfit, they usually come out, say they comb their forest, they are in the know. But at this time, there was no intel on that. And even the church was not secured. So now, is it that legally Amoteku should ask for more power to guard the Southwest? Because the spate of attacks is moving closer. I think the Southwest was, or for some time, seems to be like the last frontier, the safe area in Nigeria. But right now, it's moving closer and closer, and it seems like terrorists have totally overrun the country. So, should Amoteku be given more legal powers to probably prosecute, to carry more arms, to go into places and do checks without it becoming another problem, a hydra that will develop in the state, in the country, when I say state?
Thank you very much, Jennifer. The 1999 Constitution is a sham constitution. It does not provide for regional policing or regional autonomy. That is why you have vigilante groups up, really to help themselves, because the constitution of this country is hampering relief and mobilization, because it doesn't provide for that kind of reaction. You will remember the 2014 Constitutional Conference. I will also repeat this. which sought a panacea for our myriad problems. And this issue was also tabled, where each group, they proposed 6 geopolitical zones. And these zones would be autonomous or responsible for their region. We don't have that. We don't have that mechanism in our constitution. It is the federal government that is charged with protecting the lives and security and property of its citizens. And it has failed woefully to do that, creating insecurity, creating anarchy, creating terrorism, or giving way to terrorism. And cause for concern for all citizens of Nigeria. You rightly said, there is no safe haven. It's here in the southeast, it's there in the south west, it's there in the middle belt, of course, it's there in the north. So it's a very, very difficult situation.
Okay, from a layman's perspective, let me ask this. If the people of, let's say, Ondo State decide that they want to have a referendum to give Massacre those powers, do you think the courts, or rather, will the courts grant them this? Or is it something that can be enforced in as much as the Constitution does not provide for regional policing?
Well, I think you've answered it yourself. It's certainly something that case law would throw up. It would be interesting, but without the constitutional provisions, I'm afraid we are limited. We've been calling for the abolition of the 1999 Constitution for a long time, and the National Assembly for the last 2 terms have made minor inroads. The major flaws in that constitution, in that document, it's a decree, essentially, a military decree, have not been addressed. So consequently, the courts themselves are shackled. They're shackled, which is ironical.
All right, Olumide, thank you so much. We wish we could give you all the time we have, but the show has to go on and move on to other topics as well. So thank you once again for being with us. Thank you for clearing so many issues and the air around these matters in the way it goes in the civil and legal directions.
Thank you very much. You're most welcome. Thank you.
All right, bye now. We do wish you a pleasant day ahead.
Thank you.
All right, bye.